Okay, so guys, before starting with the session, can you please all quickly confirm me over the chat window? Is my voice is audible to all of you, as well as all of you can see my screen? Okay, that's great. Okay, so let's start with the session. Okay, so before starting with the session, let's have a quick round of introduction. So please, so I will be unmuting you one by one. So please go ahead and introduce yourself in a couple of lines, like what is your technical background and why basically you are looking for taking Android development course. So I will start with Ashutosh. Ashutosh, I have unmuted you. Can you please go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ashutosh K. Srivastava. I am an ex-IBMer and currently I am looking for a job change in the field of Android development. And I'm here for, I think Android is the greatest and the booming market as of now. And
Yes.
I'm really very much interested for this skill, and it's a charming skill as per today's market. That is why I'm here.
Yeah. Great, great, Ashutosh. Thanks for joining us. Next one is on the list is Nageshwara.
Hi, this is Nashra.
Hi.
Actually, I'm working in the government sector, so
Okay.
I want to develop some more applications in Android. So that I joined in this course, right?
Okay. So Nageshwara, what is your technical background? So do you have a basic knowledge of Java or C?
Yeah. I have that Java and C and Visual Basic also. I know that.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Nageshwara, for introducing yourself. Next one is on the list is Rajesh. Hi,
Hey,
Rajesh.
hi sir. Hi everyone, and this is Rajesh. Well, I did masters in software engineering from US, and and I know Android is one of the technology which has a lot of scope for the software developers, and I was like very much passionate about uh, doing creative apps of my own actually, and also for some good MNCs as well. So I just want to get into Android.
Oh, that's great, Rajesh. So, okay. So next one is on the list is Sushi. Okay. Sorry for mispronouncing your name.
Hi, myself Shichi. Hi everyone. I have like close to 8 years experience in testing. I'm currently working for HCL and Android is one of the hot skills, so I want to move into Android learning. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. Next one is on the list is Varun. Hi, Varun. Varun, are you able to hear me? Okay. I think it seems to be a problem with the headphones. Anyways, thank you very much, guys, for joining us on this particular Android training. Yes, Varun. So I will unmute you. Can you please go ahead and introduce yourself? I have unmuted you, Varun, just now. Okay. So in the meantime, I will introduce myself. So guys,
Uh,
my name is yes, Varun. I, yeah.
uh,
Now we are able to hear you.
okay. Sorry, I mean, there was some problem with my headphones. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so my name is Varun Vijayavargi and I have 9 years of experience in Java already. I've joined Android course as, again, just like the same reason as all of you. I feel Android is one of the hot cakes in the market and I can see it is having future for at least 8 to 10 years as well. So I have a small question as well here. Can I just ask it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I just wanted to know, see, my basic technical expertise has been completely in Java. So do you think it is, I mean, what do you think? Now if I move to Android and later if I want to move to an Android job market, will I be considered as an Android fresher or how will it help me out? Because this is one thing with which I'm little confused about. Uh,
So, Varun, so since you are already having a basic knowledge of Java, in fact, you are having quite a good knowledge of Java, and I feel that if you take up this course and if you develop like couple of applications on your own, it will give you a pretty good start, and you would not
o-
be considered as a fresher because you have taken a training and you have created the applications on your own. So that
okay.
creates the value basically.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
your overall experience will be counted, I would say.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, about myself, so I have been associated with Collabra and I have been conducting trainings on the Android as well as on the iPhone platform. Apart from that, I'm also working on quite a few projects, both on Android and the iPhone. So I have worked on the smartwatch applications, Google Glass applications. Currently, I'm working on the iWatch applications. So many of you must be aware about the Apple iWatch. So I'm creating an application for German-based automobile company. So we are basically creating an iPhone and the iWatch application. So we are done with the iPhone app. Now we are concentrating on the iWatch. So I started my mobile development career in December 2009. So it's been almost 5 years. I am into the mobile application development. So I have been developing applications for the iPhone, Android platform, and lot of smartwatch as well as the wearable devices. So that's pretty much about me. Okay, so before starting with this particular session, I will quickly take you through the okay. So just hold on. Yeah. So I'm going to quickly take you through the course syllabus. Okay. So I will open the syllabus. So what are the things that we will be learning as a part of this particular course? Okay. So as you can see, so basically this course will be of 30 hours duration and the sessions are divided into 10 parts. So today basically we are going to start with Android basics. So we are going to take a look at the history of Android platform. Then we will be look at the Android development tools. So the development tools which we will be using for creating the Android applications. So that's what we are going to take a look at, and I would also take you through the details on how you can use those development tools to create the effective Android applications. Then we will be talking about application building blocks. So what are the main components that you should learn or you should concentrate on for creating the effective Android applications? Then we will see localizing Android applications. So this section will concentrate on like how you can localize the Android applications basically. So a lot of times what happens is you have created the application and you're launching this application. But let's say even though your application is pretty cool, but you release that application in the Japanese market. So most of us knows that Japanese or Chinese, they mostly follow the native language as compared to English. So many of the speakers, they don't know English. So even after your application is very good, it has got a lot of features, but those guys, they might not be installing your application because they don't understand what is written inside the app. And what happens, you lose a lot of audience out there. So that's why it is very important whenever you're creating an application and if you're planning to release it internationally, so you should always provide support for the foreign languages inside your app. So that we are going to see today how you can do that. And finally, I will be showing you how you can debug the Android application. So in this particular section, we will talk about how the application is debugged. Like tomorrow, if you're getting a crash in the application and you want to check yourself, like exactly what line is causing that particular crash, or if you want to analyze the source code, how the flow is basically going on, so you can debug the application. Okay, so let's go to that. And guys, at any moment, if you feel you have got any question or you have not understood something, please feel free to ping me in the chat window and I'll get back to you. Okay, so let's start with the history of Android platform. Okay, so basically all of us know, so Android started with version that is called as 1.6. So before 1.6 there was the version that is Cupcake. So it was released in 2007. So it was the very first version of Android which was available to end user. So 1.5 release, basically it was providing basic features, something like call, SMS, email and all. But a major feature that was lacking in the 1.5, it was the Bluetooth support. So Bluetooth support what was added in Android 1.6, using which you can transfer the contents using over the Bluetooth, and they also added the support for BLE devices. So if you see all the versions of Android, they are basically available in the alphabetical order. So very first was Cupcake, which start with C. The next one was Donut. The next version of Android that came into the market was the Eclair, Froyo, Gingerbread, Honeycomb. So starting with the Honeycomb, Android was also available on the tablets. So Android 3.0 was a first version which was available on the tablets apart from the mobile. All the previous versions of Android, they were mostly available for only mobile platform. And also in 3.0, a lot of new features came. So we are going to talk about those features. So when we will be actually doing the programming. So these were the few features that added in 3.0, something like support for multi-window, support for the fragments, support for the action bars, which you can see on the top of the window. So all those programs we are basically going to cover in this particular section. Then came Ice Cream Sandwich. So Ice Cream Sandwich came up with the new UI that is called as Hollow UI. So using Hollow UI, you can create a beautiful Android applications and you can add multiple animations to the 4.0. So starting with 4.0, they introduced a lot of new APIs using which you can add a lot of good animations inside your application. Next version was Jelly Beans, KitKat, and the last version of Android, so I would not say last because now Android 6.0 also got released, so Lollipop. So Lollipop added the support for the smartwatch. It's also added the support for a lot of new animation, and a very important feature of Android Lollipop in terms of designing is the material support. So all the apps that we will be creating as a part of this particular course, we will be using the Android. In fact, we are going to use the Android 6.0 SDK that is called as Marshmallow. Okay, because Marshmallow is public now and a lot of devices now, they will be moving on to the Marshmallow. So we are making sure that we are using all the APIs from the Marshmallow and we are designing the applications as per the Android Marshmallow design guidelines. Okay. So that is pretty much about the history of Android. So now Android is available on the mobile platform. It is available as a part of smartwatch. Then you must have heard about Google Glass, that is the wearable device. Then it is also available on the Google Auto. So Auto means something like now you will see Android operating system in all the automobiles. So all the car decks, then GPS system, navigation system, they also have the Android as a part of it. So learning Android is not only limited to creating an application for mobile platform. So now you have got a plenty of opportunity. So you will be using same source code for creating an application for wearable devices, mobile platforms, or the Google Auto. So plenty of opportunities there. Okay, so I can see some new faces. So I think if you guys joined just now. So guys, I will unmute you one by one. Could you please go ahead and introduce yourself so that so just tell us about your technical background and why you are looking to learn Android. So I will start with Nageswara. Hi Nageswara, I have unmuted you. Can you please go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, it's nice, Rob.
Hi Nagesh.
Now I'm working in the government sector. I completed my
Okay.
BTech.
Okay, that's great. Next one is on the list is Nidhi. Hi Nidhi.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So Nidhi, yeah, please go ahead and tell us about your technical background and why you're looking for learning Android.
I have completed my engineering in history,
Okay.
and I want to learn about Android.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Next one is on the list is Prakash. So I think Prakash don't have the headphones. That's not an issue. Okay. So Rajesh, did you introduce yourself? I'm not sure. Did you just join, Rajesh?
Yes, Vipul, I already introduced.
Ah, great. Thanks. Okay. So yes, so it was about pretty much basics of the Android. So as I said, the latest version of Android, so web page is not updated yet. So the latest version of Android that is available in market is the Marshmallow. That is Android 6.0. So let me take some time and take you through that. Yeah. So this is the Marshmallow, and there are a lot of new features that they came up in the. Hey, hi, Ranganatha. Okay, so the major feature of the Android 6.0 Marshmallow from the consumer perspective is it is very lightweight operating system, and it is very back mobile friendly. Like you will get a lot of battery power inside it. Then it has got a lot of new animations and a lot of new things. So we will be taking through them. Okay. So the next thing that we are going to take a look at is the Android tools. So now when you will start developing the Android application, the very first thing that you will require is the Android tools. So the integrated development environment or the editor that we are going to use for creating the Android application, it is called as Android Studio. Okay, so the application that we will be using for creating the Android application, it is called as Android Studio. So what I would be doing, guys, I would be sending you the links. Please make sure that you are bookmarking them. Okay, so can you all confirm me? Are you getting the link in the chat window? Okay, that's great. Okay, just make sure that you are bookmarking that particular link. Okay. So Android Studio is basically the editor that we are going to use for creating the Android application, and Android Studio is available for Windows, Mac, as well as Linux. So regardless on which operating system you are working on, you can still create the Android applications. It's not like the iPhone where you can develop applications only on the Mac operating system. So in Android, you can create the applications on any operating system. So what we are going to do is we are going to download the Android Studio. Okay. So basically, when you will try to download the Android Studio, basically you will have four options: stable, beta, dev, and canary. Okay. So what happens is, being the open source organization, so Google is an open source organization, so a lot of products they release, they are open source. So generally, you will have access to the stable version of Android Studio, but you can just go ahead and you can subscribe to beta channel. So what will happen is, so whenever the beta version of Android Studio will come into the market, you will get the update for the Android Studio. Similarly, you can subscribe for the dev channel and the canary. So canary is something which is very highly unstable. Dev is it is little bit more stable as compared to canary. Beta is more stable as compared to dev. And a stable version is a very stable version which is released to the public. But as a developer, if you want to check out what are the new things that will be coming into the stable version in the future, you can always subscribe for the Canary Dev Beta channel. So in case if you are interested in Canary, so what you will be doing, you will be clicking on Canary and you will be clicking on the latest build. Okay. So if you see over here, okay, so let me bring this particular link to all of you. Yeah. So let's go with stable instead. So if you see over here, so latest stable version of Android, it is being released on September 30th. So I will click on that particular figure. and now you will be getting the option. So you can download it for Windows, Mac, or Linux. So depending on which operating system you are using, you can download it. So since I'm using Mac, I will be clicking on the DMG file. In case if you are using Linux, you will be downloading the zip. And in case of Windows, you can download the only editor, or you can download it along with the SDK, that is software development kit. So shortly I will also tell you about what is exactly SDK. So let's say if you have downloaded the Mac version or the Windows version, so what you will be doing, so it is installable. So you will just download it and you will install it. The minimum requirement for working with Android is you should have at least Core 2 Duo or above CPU, like Core 2 Duo, Core i3, Core i5. Pentium CPUs are mostly discouraged because they are pretty slow, and Android emulator, which we will be using for testing our application, it requires a lot of memory. So that's why it is recommended that you should have at least 2 GB of RAM, and you should have at least Core 2 Duo and above configuration CPU. Hard disk space doesn't matter. So if you have like minimum hard disk space as 20 GB, so that would also do. So it is not more strict in terms of hard disk, but it is very strict in terms of RAM and the CPU. Okay, so let's say you are downloaded the Android Studio and you have installed it. So what you will see when you will open it. So let me open it for you. Okay, so you are going to see something like this. So basically, I have already created a project. I will close that. Vengala, no, you don't need to install it now. So guys, during this session, I would just encourage you to see how I'm basically coding the programs and the concepts which I'm teaching. Once this session is over, you can take your time, you can have a look at the recorded session, and you can practice it along with. Okay, so during this session, I would request you to just concentrate on the things. Okay, and one thing I would like to tell you, so all these sessions are getting recorded, and these sessions will be available to you in your LMS account. So in case if you miss any particular session, you can always have a look at the recorded session and you can practice in your free time. And also all the code snippets will be uploaded to your LMS account, so you can refer to those particular code snippets whenever you are practicing. Okay, so when you will download the Android Studio and when you will open it, so you will see the editor in this particular form, where on the left hand side you will see all the recent projects which you have created, and on the right hand side you will see the list of options. So we will go through those options one by one. So the very first option that you will get over here, it is start a new Android Studio project, using which you can create a new Android Studio project. If someone sends you the source code which he has already created, what you can do is you can open the Android Studio and you can open some other source code. Like it is something like import. So if you want to open the existing source code, you can click on this particular link and you can open the existing source code. In case if you are working in the organizational or the group environment or with your colleagues, you can always work in the version control manner, like you can work on the Git or you can work on the SVN. So in that way, so you can also check out the project from the version control. There is an option for importing the project for Eclipse. So before Android Studio, we used to use Eclipse for creating the Android applications. But starting last year, we started using Android Studio. So if you have any old project which has been created in Eclipse, so you can import that project in Android Studio using this particular option. But I feel that so most of you are new. You are new to the Android development. So all the applications that you would be developing, they will be in Android Studio itself. You can import an Android code sample. So Google also provides a lot of code samples for you to understand the concepts. So you can import any one particular Google sample to just have a look at how the application is made and what output you are getting. So basically, we are going to skip those options as of now. So what I would be doing, I would be going into the configuration. So let's go into the configuration, and the very first option will be SDK manager. That is your software development kit. So SDK is something like your JDK, right? So we are going to click on the SDK manager. The reason we are clicking on the SDK manager because we have downloaded the editor, but we will also need a SDK, software development kit, to compile the application and to run those applications, right? So in Android, the SDK that we are going to install, it is called as Android 6.0 SDK. So Android 6.0 SDK we are going to install since we want to make sure that we are creating an application with the latest version of Android. So what I'm doing, so I will again explain you. So I'm going to click on the SDK manager, and there I'm going to click on launch standalone SDK manager. Okay, so I will wait for it to load. Okay, so guys, just give me a second. Okay, so yeah, so I was talking about the SDK manager. So I have got a question from Varun. Is a menu and the navigation same in Mac and Windows for Android Studio? So Varun, I would say yes. So 90% of the UI it is same in Mac and Windows. So once you get the idea on on the menus about on the Mac, you will able to get the idea on Windows also. So it's not a lot of difference between Windows and Mac. And whenever there is a difference between Windows and Mac, I will point you guys on that. Okay. So yeah, so as I said, the Android Studio is just an editor, right? But to compile the application, to build the application, and to run the applications, what you would require, you will basically require the compile SDK. Because without SDK, editor will not be able to do anything. So you will be installing this particular SDK from the Android SDK manager. So there are a lot of things you will see inside the SDK manager, and those things are quite confusing at first. So I'll briefly take you through those. So what we have to make sure that we are installing the Android SDK tool, which is used for compiling the programs. Then we are installing the Android SDK platform tools, and we are installing the Android SDK build tools. So these are three tools which are essential for compiling and building your Android applications. So we have to make sure that we are always installing the latest version of them. So right now the SDK tool which is available, it is 24.4. Then SDK platform tool is 23.0.1, and the build tool is 23.0.1. So you would notice one thing over here. So I also have few old build tools also over here. The reason is in Android what happens is, so every couple of weeks you will be getting the updates. So right now I have the 24.4 installed, but maybe after a couple of weeks, I will see a new version that is 25.0. And here instead of installed, I will see update. Okay. So what I will be doing, so wherever I will see update, I will be selecting that particular checkbox, and at the bottom, so right now there is no install, but you will see an update button and you will click on update. So what it will do, it will basically update that particular tool for you. So whenever you are installing the SDK, you have to make sure that you are coming every couple of weeks on this particular window and you are checking if there is any update available to existing SDK. Okay, so what you would be doing, so you will be selecting that particular SDK and you will be clicking on update packages. So since there is no update available as of now, so that button is not highlighted, but we have to make sure we are having the latest version of SDK tool, we are having the latest version of platform tools, and we are having the latest version of build tools. So these are three tools which are required. Yeah, so sorry guys, I think there was some connectivity issue. Yeah, so are you able to hear me now? Okay, great. Yeah, so I was talking about, sorry, yeah. So I was talking about the SDKs that Android is providing. So every time a new version of Android comes, the new SDK folder you will see over here. Okay, and what we have to make sure, we are always installing the latest one. So tomorrow, Android, if Android 7.0 comes up, so what I would be doing, so I would be uninstalling the 6.0 and I will be installing 7.0. Okay, but you can always keep the older version on your computer and you can install the new one. The reason I'm telling about uninstalling the older version, because these SDKs are quite huge in size. So I would say every SDK is around 1.5 GB in size. So if you keep the couple of old SDK on your computer, so they will be taking 3 GB of space. So it is always recommended that you should always keep the latest version of Android SDK installed. So you can see, so I don't have any of the things installed from the 5.1.1 SDK because I'm installing 6.0. And always remember, so if you are using the latest SDK, you can also provide support for the older versions, but it's not vice versa. If you compile your application with the Android SDK 5.1.1, you will not able to use the feature of 6.0, right? But if you are compiling your application with the 6.0 SDK, you can also use the feature of 5.1.1, because whenever new SDK comes, it will also contain the features from the older SDK over there. So what are the takeaways? So you have to make sure that you are having the latest tools installed. So first three tools you should install. Then you are having the latest Android SDK platform. So the latest SDK platform is 6.0. So we have to make sure we are having the documentation, SDK platform, and we are also having the samples installed. Okay. So documentation is something, so whenever you are creating an application and if you have a doubt about particular API, how to use it. So you can always refer to the documentation and it will give you clear picture on like how you can use that particular API. Then the software development kit. So this is very important. So you should have this to basically compile your applications because it actually contains all the APIs which are introduced in 6.0 and also which are available in Android. With every new version, Google is going to provide you the sample code. So sample code is very important because whenever the new version of Android comes and you want to check out like what are the new features that are present in that new version, you can always take a look at the sample code to get the idea on what are the new versions available. Then a lot of times what will happen, you will be creating an Android application and you want to test that application on the emulator or on the device, right? Because ultimately we are creating an application for the mobile platform, not for the desktop platform. So how do you test it? So you can either test it on your actual device, actual physical device, or in case if you are the iPhone user and you don't have the Android device with you, you can always test your applications on the emulator. Okay, so guys, I have a question for you. Can you think and tell me what is exactly mean by the emulator? So you can type your answer in the chat window. Okay, so I got an answer. So Ranga, I asked like what is the emulator exactly? Okay, so I have got a lot of answers. So one of the answers is it is a virtual mobile where we can run our applications. So yes, that's correct. Mobile is something which resembles a device like its look. So yes, that is absolutely correct. And the configuration. Okay, so guys, what is meant by emulator is, so emulator is something like which acts like a physical device. So you will not able to make a call or you will not able to send the SMS from the emulator, but what it will do, it will give you the platform, it will give you the environment in which you can test the application. So it will try to mimic the actual device environment. So it is not the 100% actual device, but it will give you enough idea like how your application is going to behave on the actual device. Okay, so and yes, Sushi. So yes, that is correct. So if you don't have the Android device, you can emulate the all the features of the Android device using the emulator. That's perfect, basically. Okay. So Android comes up with the built-in emulator. So what you have to do for that, you have to install these two packages: Intel x86 Atom 64 system image and the system image. And if you see the rest of the things, so those are just optional, but I would recommend you to install them. Okay, so basically from the SDK, what are the things you will be installing, or rather I would say what are the things you will be not installing? It is related to the Android TV, because we are not going to create the application for the Android TV. We are going to create the applications for mobile. So except this, you are going to install all other things. Okay, so let me show you how the emulator looks like. So before that, I would also like to talk about the third-party emulator that is called as Genymotion. So the problem with Android emulator is it is very heavy. So sometimes what happens is if you are using the older configuration computer or if you don't have a much RAM available on your PC, so Android emulator is going to be very slow. And it is a known problem in Android emulator, so it is very slow. So there is a third party company called as Genymotion. They also provide the Android emulator. So it is not provided by the Google, but it is provided by the third party organization that is called as Genymotion. Okay. So what I would recommend you, first try and check if the Android emulator works perfectly or not. In case if you feel that emulator is very slow, then switch on to the Genymotion, because Genymotion is basically very much faster and very much stable and lightweight as compared to the Android emulator. Okay, but a very first preference that I would like to give is installing the applications on the device. So in case if you have the Android device, I would always recommend that you should test all your applications on the device itself. So it will remove all the overhead of installing the emulator, starting the emulator, and you are pretty much sure that since all the applications have been tested on the device, they will also perform well in the real world environment. Okay, so I'm going to show you all the things. So let me start with the Genymotion, which is pretty simple. So very first thing what you will have to do is you will have to create a free account on the Genymotion. So I'm going to send you all the links. So this, so guys, I'm sending you a few links on the chat window. Just make sure that you are bookmarking those links so that you can just download the softwares. So once you go over here, so what you have to do is you have to click on sign in and you have to create a free account. So it is not a paid account. So Genymotion comes in the free as well as in paid form. But all the course which we will be covering, so the free version is sufficient for that. So let me log in with my account. Okay, so I have logged in with my account, and there you will be getting an option to download the Genymotion. Yes, so yeah, so you can always click on free and you can click on download. Okay, and what it should do, it should basically start with the download. Okay, so I will have to choose the platform, whether it is Mac, Windows or Linux. So I will choose Mac and I will click on get Genymotion. Okay, Genymotion is the virtual device for testing your Android application. So that's the reason we are going to use the Genymotion. Okay, so Genymotion also, yes, Varun, it's an emulator. So always remember, Genymotion also requires the virtual box to be installed. So in case if you are the Windows user, I would say you are quite lucky because Genymotion, there are two options you will be getting. Get Genymotion with VirtualBox and get Genymotion without VirtualBox. So the thing that you will be downloading is get Genymotion with VirtualBox, first link. And in this link, you will be getting the VirtualBox and Genymotion, both the things. So when you will install the software, it will also install the VirtualBox. Okay, but in case if you are the Mac user, you will only able to download the Genymotion because VirtualBox is not included. So what I will be doing, I will be downloading the Genymotion. Then on the next link, I will be opening the VirtualBox website and I will be downloading it. Okay, so I'm going to ping you this link. Okay, so guys, just bookmark that particular link. So yes, so you will be going onto the VirtualBox and you will be downloading the VirtualBox. So very first thing you have to make sure, in case if you are not a Windows user, so Windows user, you will just get one setup file. If you double click on it, it will also install the Genymotion as well as the VirtualBox. So no need to worry about that. But in case if you are the Mac user or the Linux user, so what you will be doing, you will be first downloading the VirtualBox, you will install it, and then you will be downloading the Genymotion and install it. So always follow that particular order. So first you have to install the VirtualBox, then you have to install the Genymotion. In case if you are the Windows user, you just need to install one exe file and it will install all the things for you. Okay, so let's assume we have installed the VirtualBox and the Genymotion. So in case of Windows, you will be seeing a shortcut icon which is created on the desktop. In case of Mac, you will be able to see it in the dock. So I will open the Genymotion. Okay, so this is the Genymotion. So it is a simple window you will be getting and it will not contain anything. So I have added one emulator, but in your case, if you install it newly, so you would not be seeing anything in that empty area. So very first thing you will be doing is you will be clicking on the settings. Make sure you are logging in with the same account that you use on the website. So go into the Genymotion settings and perform login using the same credentials. Give the path of the virtual box. So Genymotion will automatically detect basically where the virtual box is installed. In case it doesn't detect, just give the path of the virtual box, and all the other things will be automatically taken care of. So what you have to do is, in the settings, the only thing that you have to do is you have to log in with your account over there. And once you do that, then you will click on the plus icon. Okay. So Genymotion gives you a lot of virtual devices. So you have to think like what virtual device you will be installing. So if you see, there are a lot of Android versions are listed and all the device models. So I usually go with the latest Android version, that is 5.1. So 6.0, it is not yet come to the Genymotion, but maybe in a couple of weeks it will be available. So I'm selecting Android version 5.1, and then you have to select the device. So you can select any device. You can go with the Google Nexus 6. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this option and I'm going to click on next. So what next will do, basically next will start downloading it. So I will cancel, I will not download now because I already have it. So you can see virtual device has been created. So in case if you don't have any virtual device, it will download and finally you will get the message virtual device has been created successfully. Click finish. So I will again take you through that step. What I did, I clicked on plus. It showed me a lot of list of devices. I selected the latest platform, 5.1. I selected the latest device model, that is Nexus 6. Select it, click on next, next, and install it. Okay, so when you do that, okay, so a lot of simulators have been created. So I will delete the unnecessary one. So you will see the entry like this in your Genymotion. So what you will be doing, you will be selecting that particular device and you will be clicking on start. Okay, so what I did, I selected that particular device and I clicked on start. And now what it is doing, it is basically downloading the Genymotion. Sorry, it is opening the Genymotion over here. And what you will be seeing over here, so you will be seeing the device and you can see it is pretty much like your actual device. Even when it is created from Genymotion, will it take long? So no, Varun. If you are using Genymotion, it shouldn't take a longer time. So Genymotion is very fast as compared to the built-in Android emulator. So as far as I know, it shouldn't take much time to start. But again, finally, all the things are entirely dependent on your computer hardware also. Okay. So as you can see, so I already have a few apps installed over here. So one of the app I would like to show you uh, this. So this is one of the app which I was developing in my previous course. So you can see, so it feels like the actual app only, right? So you are basically getting the all the list of movies. So it feels like the actual device, and you can test your applications on the Genymotion. And if they are working on the emulator, so you can be guaranteed that. So I would say there is at least 90% guarantee that it will run good on your mobile also. But again, there are few things which will run on the emulator and which might not run on the device or vice versa also. But most of the Android development you can do based on the Genymotion emulator. Okay, so it is about the Genymotion emulator. So guys, are you all clear about like how did we install the Genymotion and how did we started the emulator? Any questions in that? Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, So what I will do is I will just close down the Genymotion. And now let's see how you can create the emulator using Android SDK. So yeah, so let's assume you went into the SDK manager, and the one section that we missed is, so you are having you have installed the tools, you have installed the latest Android version 6.0, and you will see some extras. So what you have to make sure that you are installing each and everything from the extras. Okay, so don't install NDK bundle, that is native development kit. So it is used if you want to create the Android applications in C, C++ language. But what I would suggest you, so if you're installing something, just install the NDK also, because you never know. Tomorrow you might feel a need of using NDK to create the application. So in Windows, you can also install the USB drivers. In Mac, they are not supported. That's why I have not installed them. And I have not installed the Android Auto Desktop Head Unit Emulator. The reason is currently I'm basically not creating an application for the Android Head Unit Emulator. So I'm not going to install that particular thing. Okay, but in case in your organization, if you're creating an application for the Desktop Head Unit Emulator, you can install that emulator also. So basically this emulator is used if you are creating an application for Android Auto. Okay, just give me a second. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so once we have all these things installed, the next thing would be to start the Android emulator. Okay, so I will go ahead and we'll start the Android emulator. So let's close this. Yeah. So what I'm going to do over here is, the very first thing is you have installed the SDK and you have installed the tools as well as extras. The next thing that you will be doing is you will be creating an application. Okay. So what you are going to do is you are going to click on Start New Android Studio Project. Okay. So whenever you are creating a new project, you will have to give the application name. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to write down the application name. Okay, so I will write the application name over there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder over here. So I will go on the desktop and I will create class 1 in class training. I will open the Android Studio and I will select the Dropbox. Yeah. Okay. So we are selecting the folder where we are going to save this particular project. Click on next. Next. So there you will be getting a lot of options. So previously when we used to create the application, we used to do everything from the scratch. But now with the latest version of Android SDK, what they are doing, they are giving you the template. Okay, but as of now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to follow any template. We will create the application from the scratch. So you will get the idea. So I will select the empty activity, click next. Activity name, I will give a name as hello activity. So you might be wondering what is in the activity. So in case if you have seen the web development or you have worked on the Swings application, you must have seen there are forms. So in case of Android, those are called as activity. Okay, so it is something like a form. So, hello, Ashutosh is not able to listen me. Guys, are you all, rest of you, able to listen me? Okay, that's great. I think there was some issue with the Ashutosh. So Ashutosh, just make sure. So guys, in case if you ever feel this issue, just exit the meeting and rejoin it. So it will solve that issue for you. Anyways, so yeah, so activity is like a form. Okay, so you will have the HTML form, something like login form, right, or the registration form. So those forms are called as activity in the Android world. So the activity name or the form name I'm giving hello activity, and in Android the UI you will be creating in the separate file that is called as the layout file, and you will be having a Java file that is called as the activity file. Okay, so the activity file name is hello activity, and the layout file name I will keep it as activity underscore hello. I will click on next, finish. Okay, so always remember, whenever you have the activity file, you will also have the layout file associated with that activity file. Okay, so when you will create a new project, what it will do, it will take a couple of seconds, and finally it will create a project for you. Okay, so we have created a new project, and if you see, so whenever you will create a new project, two files will be shown over there. One is the XML file and one is the Java file. So Java file we will be using for writing the code snippet, and the XML file we will be using for creating the UI. Okay, so since this is the Hello World application, so what I have done is I'm not going to write anything inside it. I'm now going to start the emulator. So how do you start the Android emulator? So you will be clicking on Tools, Android, and you will be clicking on AVD Manager. So AVD stands for Android Virtual Device. So I'm going to click on AVD. So again, I will tell you how did I start it. So I clicked on Tools, Android, and I clicked on AVD Manager. So this is for starting the Android's built-in emulator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you everything from the scratch. So I will delete the existing things. So when you will newly install the Android Studio, you will not see you will see something like this because there will be nothing. So what you will be doing is you will be clicking on Tools, Android, AVD Manager, and there you will click on Create Virtual Device. In that you will select whether you want to create a device, virtual device for phone, tablet, VR, or TV. So I will select I want to create it for phone. I will select Nexus 6. Now you can see there is Nexus S, Nexus SP, 6P. A lot of things have come. So let's select Nexus 6P. Click on Next. There I'm going to use the Android 6.0 with Google APIs. So with Google APIs, you should select because in the future we are also going to create the application which will have the Google Maps. So if you just select x86 64, you will not able to test the applications which are having Google Maps. But if you select with Google APIs, you will. So it is always a good practice to select the target which includes Google APIs. So I'm selecting x86 64. I'm going to click on Next. AVD name, you can keep anything. I will just leave it as it is. Show advanced settings. You can set the RAM size, internal storage. So I would recommend that you keep those settings as it is and click Finish. So what it will do, it will create the virtual device for you. So virtual device has been created. I will select it and I will click the play button. So what it will do, it will start the virtual device for you. Okay. So could not get path to create a file parameter. Let's work emulator sim. Okay, so it is saying it has got some issue. Okay. Anyways, so let's try to run it. Okay. So it is saying it is log. Okay. Let me try this. So it shouldn't happen actually, but let me fix this issue. So it is saying that rf minus rf users people sharp android abd. Okay. Okay, and it seems it has started. So let's wait a couple of minutes. The meantime, the device will start. And now you can see the difference between Genymotion and the Android emulator. Okay, so I'm still seeing the black screen over here. So it was out of view. So what I'll do is I will again go into Tools, Android, AVD Manager. Let me delete this particular thing. Let me create a lightweight device. So if you select Nexus 4, so you can see the resolutions are pretty less. So the lesser the resolution, the more faster that emulator will be because it will require less memory. So let's select Nexus 4, select Android 6.0, next, and click Finish. Select it and start. Oh, I don't know what error I'm getting. Okay, so it has started. Strange. Okay, so it took some time, but it has started. Good news. So now you can see this is your Android 6.0 emulator built in. So it took some time, but it started. So, so you can see it feels like the actual device. You can go into the settings, and you can do a lot of things also. Okay, so it's up to you. If you feel that the Android emulator is running pretty well on your computer, you can go with the Android emulator, or you can use the Genymotion. But in case if you have the actual device, I will always recommend you to install the application on the actual device. So on the actual device, you will have to do few settings. First, you will have to go into the About screen. So now you can see developer option over there. But many of you will not able to see that developer option because by default it is hidden. So how you unhide it or how you show it? So what you have to do is you have to go onto the build number. So again, depending on which device you are using, so options might be different, but you have to search for option that is called as build number, and you have to click on that 7 times. Okay, so on your actual device, what you will be doing, you will be searching for the string called as build number, and you will be clicking on it 7 times. So right now I am already, so what happens is, so when you click there 7 times, you become the developer on that particular device, or you enable the development mode on that particular device. So since it is a emulator, the development mode is already enabled. So then what you can see, then you will able to see this particular option. So once you do that, then this option will be visible to you. You will be going inside it, and sorry, click on settings, developer mode, and now you can see. So in your case, the developer mode might be turned off by default. So you have to switch it on, and there you have to select an option called as USB debugging. So what you have to do is you have to enable the USB debugging. And once you do that, then only you will be able to install the applications on your mobile. Okay, so what you did, you went into the build settings, clicked on it 7 times, so it enabled the developer mode. Then inside the developer mode, you enable the developer options and you enable the USB debugging. Once you do that, then install your device software on your computer. So if you are using HTC, you might have to install the HTC drivers basically. And after installing the appropriate driver, if you connect your device, then what you will see is you will see your device entry over here. So you can see. So at the bottom, you will see something called as Android monitor. So if you click on that, here you will see all the devices, connected devices. So right now I just have one device which is running, that is your emulator. But in case if you have more than one device, all the device will be listed over here. So what is your target is, so you have to make sure that your device name is getting listed over here. If it is not getting listed, then you will not able to install the apps on your device through Studio. In case if you have multiple devices, so what you can do, you can select the target device and you can click on play icon. So what it will do, it will install that particular application on the selected device. So what you have to make sure, you are selecting the appropriate device and you are clicking on play. So what it will do, it will install the application on that particular device. Okay, so let's now click on play icon and let's see. So when you click on play icon, it will say device chooser, which device you want to select. So right now we just have one device and click OK. And we should see hello world or something like that on the app. So it might take a couple of seconds to install the app. Okay, let's try it again. That app should automatically start. Let me check. So you can see the problem with this emulator, it is now hanged. So that's what I don't like about using Android built-in emulator. So rather what I will do, I will start the cherry motion and I will install the app on that. So a lot of time the Android emulator will just freeze and it will not respond. So yeah, so there are some known problems, but since I'm using Mac, that might be a Mac specific issue. In case if you're using Windows, it might run properly on your machine. But what I will be doing, I'll be installing all the apps on the Jelly version. Okay, so Jelly motion is started. Let's run the app now. And now you can see. So our application is running and we are getting the message hello world over there. Okay, so you can see without writing a single line of code, so when we run our application, we are getting the hello world. So now let's dissect the application. From Android Studio, so Madhur, from Android Studio, so what we will have to do, we will have to download the plugin. So let me show you that also. So if you go onto the Genymotion, you can download the plugin for that. So it is saying use this plugin Genymotion must be installed or download install manually. Sorry. Select plugin. Okay, so it is saying go into the Android Studio, go into the settings or preference. There, select plugins and click browse repositories. Select plugin and click on browse repositories and type in Genymotion and download. Okay, so there we have to select Genymotion. Okay, So we are getting Genymotion over here. I will click on install plugin. It is asking us to restart the studio. I will restart it. Okay, and now you can see we are getting that Genymotion icon over here. So now you can click on this particular icon. It is asking us to give the path of the Genymotion application. So I think it is installed in app. Okay, Genymotion, select choose. We click OK. Now click on this. Yeah, so now you can see. So now you can launch the Genymotion from here also. So now it is already switched on, or what you can do, you can select it and you can click on start. Okay, so is that clear to you, Varun? And rest of you guys, is it clear to you? How did we install the Genymotion plugin? Okay, that's great. Okay, so now as you can see, we are getting the Hello World application over here. So what we are going to do now is we are going to dissect the application. So if you see, we are getting the activity and we are getting the layout. So I'm going to jump into the layout. And guys, I would not recommend you to create the UI using dragging and dropping the components because it is still in experimental phase and sometimes it will mess up your UI. So I will recommend you to do all those things from the code. And all the UI, I am also going to create it from the code only. Okay, so there is a concept of layout. So layout is something like container, and inside the container, what I'm having a text view. So text view is like a label. So what if I want to create a button? So instead of text view, what I will write button over there. And you will see one thing over here now is all the things, so there is a concept of auto completion. So you don't need to write everything from the scratch. So I will just select button, width is wrap content, height is wrap content, and text I will give it as click me. Okay, so what I'm having over here, so I am having a layout and inside that I have created a button and the title to that particular button, what we have given, the title is click me. Okay, so let's run the application. So instead of text view, what I did, I just selected button, run this app and let's see if we are getting button or not. Okay, and now you can see, so what we are getting over here, so we are getting the button and you can click on that particular button. Okay, so normally the attributes that you will see in all Android widget, it is called as layout width and layout height. Okay, so the possible options are wrap content or match parent. Okay, so forget about fill parent because it is now deprecated. So possible options are match parent and the wrap content. So guys, can you look at the UI and can you guess what could be a meaning of wrap content and the match parent? Just think and tell me over the chat window. So yes, most of you have predicted it correctly. So what wrap content will do? So wrap content will try to compact the size of the button so that it will fit the contents inside the button. So let me show it to you. So now we have click me. Now I will say click the button 1. And now what it did, it expanded to that content size. But if I give the width as match parent, so what it will do, it will always try to take the entire match parent means try to take the entire uh, parent width. Try to match itself to the parent width. Okay, and wrap content is exactly opposite. Try to take as minimum space as possible. And match parent means try to take as much space as possible. So if I give the height as match parent, So you can see. So now my button is taking entire screen width and entire screen height, something like that. Okay, so we will go with wrap content over here. And what we are giving? We are giving the title to our button. And the above thing that we are seeing, it is called as the container. So your button cannot, so it's a simple example, like, so whenever we are sitting, so normally we will take a chair and we will sit. So in the same way in Android also, whenever you want to put the controls, you will not directly put them on the screen. You will first take a chair and you will put your controls on that chair. So what is a chair over here? So relative layout is like a chair. So it is like a container on which the buttons will sit. Okay, so there are a lot of types of layout that we are going to see in the further sessions. So by default layout that Android gives you, it is called as the relative layout. So in fact, the very first layout we are going to see, it is called as the linear layout. So linear layout is a layout in which you can add the controls in the linear manner. So if you see, this particular layout also has the width. This particular layout has the height. So to this particular layout, what I will do, I will give some padding, 20 dp, and inside that I am having the button. So linear layout will always have the orientation. So let's write the orientation as vertical. Copy button, paste it, and now you can see. So since the orientation of my layout is vertical, so all the buttons that I have added to that particular layout, they are getting added in the vertical manner. So I can say click on button 2, button 3, and button 4. Okay, so now you can see. So now all the buttons are getting added in the vertical manner. If I make it horizontal, so all the buttons will get added in the horizontal manner. Okay, so you are not able to see all the buttons now because it is going beyond the width of the page. So let's make it vertical only. But guys, did you understand like what is vertical and what is horizontal in linear layout? Is that clear to you all? Vadan, don't see any point of linear layout. So Vadan, so when you will put the linear layout on the screen, you will have to specify how much width and height that layout will take itself, right? The parent is a window. So linear layout itself also has a parent, that is your complete application window or device window. So it will communicate to that device window how much width and height it will take. And buttons will communicate to the layout how much width and height it will take, something like that. Okay, so we have created 4 buttons over here. So you can also specify the background to the layout. So I can write Android background, and let's use some colors FF00. So you can see I have given the red background. So when you give the background in the hexadecimal form, you will also see one square to right hand side. It will show you the preview. You can click on that square and you can select the any other color if you want. So what I did over here, so I give some random background. I got that color square. I clicked on it. I selected the layout which I like, and I click on choose. Okay, which is very useful basically. So now we have got the layout and we have got the background to that particular layout. We have got the orientation, and inside that we have got the buttons. Button 1, button 2, button 3, and button 4. Now finally I'm going to use one more attribute that is called as gravity. So gravity means what will be the gravity of all the children. So now I have given the gravity as center. It means all the children of that particular layout, they will have the center gravity. So now you can see we have got the simple layout and it has got all the buttons in the center over there. Okay guys, so here let's take 10 minutes of short break and we will resume with the session after 10 minutes. So it is 12:30 now. I will exactly see you at 12:40, and after that we will go with the further concept. In the meantime, just have a look at this particular snippet, and if you have any doubts, please ask me after the break. Okay, so I will see you sharp at 10:40 and we will resume with the session. Okay, so guys, can we resume with this session? Can you please give me a confirmation over the chat window? Okay, that's great. Okay, so this is how we basically created the layout, and if you see the layout that we have created, it is called as the linear layout, and we have given the background to that layout. We have also given the gravity and the orientation. So when you give the orientation as vertical, so what it is going to do, it is going to add the buttons to that particular layout, and it is going to add those buttons in the vertical manner. Okay, so if you give the orientation as horizontal, so what will happen? The buttons will get added in the horizontal manner. Okay, so that is done. Okay, so yeah, so this is how the buttons are created. And now what we are going to see, so this is your layout. So how does activity shows that layout whenever your application launches? So now let's go on to the activity code. So before going into the onCreate method, I would like to know, so guys, do you know in case of Java, which is the first method that always gets executed? So whenever you have a Java program, which method will get executed first? Okay, so I got the answer from Suchi and Rajesh. How about others, guys? Okay, so let me tell you. So the method that gets executed first, it is called as public static void main. So it is the main method, or in case of C, the main method that will get executed is int main. So in case of Java, the main method that gets executed whenever your screen starts, it is called as onCreate. So onCreate is something like public static void main. So what will happen when your screen will start, your activity will start, and it will automatically call the line that is called as set content view. So what is meant by set content view? It means whenever this activity will start, which view it is going to show? It is going to show a view that is called as r.layout.activity underscore hello. Okay, the reason it is calling r.layout because if you see on the left hand side, you have got resources that stands for R. Then inside that you have got the layout, and inside that you have got the file that is activity underscore hello, which is automatically get created for you. So that's why we are calling it as r.layout.activity underscore hello. So R stands for resources. So going to the resources, inside that go into the layout folder, and inside that you will see a file named as activity underscore hello. So basically it is creating a linking activity class and your XML file. So I have got a next question. So if I comment out this particular line application, so what I will see? Tell me what output you will see if you comment out set content to method. So yes, so have identified it correct. What will happen is, so if you comment out this particular, run this particular application, you screen. Okay, so let me. And what you are seeing right now, so screen over there. So here, so what is happening? So when you're launching, you're not seeing the hello world, or you're a button over here, right? It's, we have not called the set. Don't call set content view. Android doesn't know what to be shown on the screen. like uncomment the set content view and the application. So I will uncomment and I will run this application, and what you will see over here now. Okay, this is how the linking is between the activity and the layout file. See, inside onCreate method, when you call set content view, it understands that whenever the activity is run, it will call that particular layout file. Okay, so this is guys how the communication is between the activity and layout. So Rajesh, I think my voice is breaking, guys. How about is my voice is breaking? Let me have a look. What's the issue? Just guys. Yeah. So guys, I have rejoined the session. Can you tell me how is my voice now? Is it fine now? Okay. So I think there was some issue with the webinar. Okay. So yeah. So guys, I was saying, did you get how the layout file and the activity files are linked to each other? So what happens? So when you run the application, basically it will start the activity. It will go inside the onCreate method, and it will see this particular line. And what it will do, it will call that particular layout file. Okay. So this is how the linking is done between the activity and the layout file. So right now what we have done is you have seen the onCreate method. So in Android, there are a lot of methods are there. Okay. So basically every application in Android has got the life cycle. So what happens is, so let me take you through the application life cycle. Yep. Okay. So what happens in case of Android? So whenever you run the application, the very first method that is going to get called, it is called as the onCreate method. Okay. So after the onCreate method, the next set of method that Android will automatically call is called as onStart. So when you are launching any game or any application, so when it launches, the very first method it calls is onCreate, then onStart, onResume. So onResume is a time when you are actually interacting with the application. Okay. But let's say you are interacting with the application, you are playing a particular game, but suddenly you get a pop-up screen saying your phone is low on battery. Okay, so I was playing a game and suddenly I got the message, my phone is low on battery. So what will happen is you will able to see your game in the background, but until and unless you don't dismiss that pop-up, you will not able to interact with your application. So that state is called as pause state. So what is mean by pause state? It means your application is visible to you, but you are not able to interact with it. The reason is there is a dialog in between. Okay. So after on resume, your application can go into the pause state. Let's say you are playing a game and suddenly you get a phone call. So what will happen in that case? Your application will completely go into the background, right? So that time which method will get called? It is called as on stop. And finally, let's say you are playing a game and you press the back key and you exit the game. So when you exit the game, the method that gets called, it is called as on destroy. So these are the set of methods which are provided by the Android, and basically those gets called automatically. So you're not going to call those methods. Those methods will get called automatically. So let me show it to you in action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the activity file and I'm going to write all those methods. So the one thing that you will have to keep in mind, all those methods are not mandatory. So the only mandatory method is on create. If you don't write this method, your application will crash. Except on create, if you don't write any other methods, that is fine. But since I'm going to explain you the application lifecycle, I will still write those methods and I will show it to you. So next method is on start. So again, you can see I'm not writing the method right from the scratch. I'm just writing on start. On pause, I will just press enter key. On stop, okay, so we have got on start, on resume, pause, stop, and finally you will have on destroy. Okay, so you have got 6 set of methods. Opposite of on create is on destroy. Opposite of on start is on stop. And opposite of on resume is on pause. So now what is going to happen? So whenever you will launch the application, it will come inside on create. After that, it will come into the on start. Then it will come into the on resume. Now suddenly if you get any pop-up on the screen, your application will automatically go into the pause state. When you press the home key, your application will go into the background. So it is not yet exited, but it just went into the background. It means it has stopped. And again, if you bring it to the foreground, it will call on start, on resume. And when you will exit the application, it will call on destroy. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write a toast message. So in Android, you can show the toast message, pop-up message. So I'm going to write toast dot make text okay. So there's some problem with the voice. So guys, is that problem came again? Is my voice is again breaking? Okay, so yeah, so guys, let me know if there is a lot of issue. What I'll do, I'll again exit the webinar. So okay, Rajesh is able to hear my voice properly. Okay, yeah, no issues. Okay, so in Android, if you want to show the pop-up message, you use the class that is called as toast. So toast.makeText, what it will do, it will basically show the pop-up message. So where you want to show the pop-up message, I will write this. This means I want to show the pop-up message in current screen. What is the pop-up message you want to show? I will say I want to show a message on create called, and for how much duration you want to show that pop-up message. So I will say these are two durations, shorter duration, longer duration. So I will say shorter duration, and finally I will call show. Okay, so I will copy this statement and I will paste it in each method. On create, on start, on resume, on pause, on stop, and on destroy. Okay, So now if you see, what I have done is I have written the pop-up message in each method. The reason I have written this because if I run the application, I can see the output. So now what I'll do is I will again run this application and look at the pop-up messages carefully. So let's run this application and let's see what are the messages are popping up. Okay, on create got called, on start and on resume. These three methods got called automatically. Now what I will do is I will put my application in the background by pressing the home key. Now on pause is called and on stop is called. Now what I will do is I will again resume this application by opening it from the recent application list. Now you can see on start and on resume got called. Now finally what I'll do is I will exit the application. Now on pause, on stop and on destroy got called. Okay, so you can see basically the events can be captured. So these events are automatically fired by the Android whenever you are playing with the application or whenever you are exiting the application. Okay, so guys, did you get the basic idea on like how the events are getting fired and in what situation those events are getting fired? Any questions? In case if you have any questions, please ask me. Yes, Varun, I will definitely paste that particular link. So guys, please bookmark this particular link. So what I would recommend you to do, guys, is in case if you are using the browser, just create a bookmark folder. So something like Collabra, and inside that bookmark folder, create one more folder, class 1. So if you bookmark the links like this, it will help you a lot. So let's bookmark this particular link in the class 1. So each class will have its own bookmark links. Okay, I can see on restart in the image. So Rajesh, on restart is no longer used. So you can just skip that particular method. So the methods which are used now is this: on create, on start, on resume, on pause, on stop, and on destroy. Okay, so now guys, I have got one challenging question for you now. So what do you think? What is the importance of this particular method? How you can make use of these particular methods in your application? So can you think of any example and give it to me in which you can, so as I said, these methods are completely optional. Even if you don't write those methods, your application will run. So what could be a situation in which you will be overriding those methods and you will be using them? Any simple example you can give? Okay, so one example has been given by this Sushi. So okay. Okay, so this also looks good. So yes, that's nice. Think of, so okay, so these are the very helpful example that you are given. Think of about any particular critical example in which your application must know when your application is exiting and must know when your application is starting. So any critical example you can give, like in which it is very must that your application should know those methods. Okay, so one example that I would like to give you, when we need to save the application save. So yeah, that's definitely correct, Varun. But a simple example I would like to give. So let's say you are creating a music application, or let's say you are creating a video application. So whenever your user is minimizing your application, there is no sense in playing that video, right? So what your video player application will do, it will detect the on stop method. It will come to know that user has put your application in the background, and you will automatically stop that video. And whenever on start will get called, your application will always come to know that, okay, user has started the application. And that time what you will do, you will resume the video playback if there is any. So is that making sense, guys? So in case if you are making a video player, it becomes very essential to use those methods. Because if your application, so if your user is putting your application in the background, it means he wants to do something else. And still your application keep on playing video with the sound, then it will be a kind of frustrating experience for the user and he might uninstall your application. So that's why your application should intelligently detect when your application is going in background or coming in foreground, and accordingly it should take the suitable actions. So you might have something like whenever your application is starting, you can write video player dot start, and whenever it is going into the background, that time you say video player dot stop, something like this. Okay, so it becomes very essential in those scenarios that you should know the application lifecycle methods and you should uh, use them. Uh, Langanatha, we can keep it in pause or we can keep in stop. So it depends on what scenario you are doing. So it is just an example which I gave. So if you want that your video should start, even if a small pop-up comes in front of the app, then this stop method you will write inside the pause. But if you want your video should stop only when your application is completely gone into the background, that time you will use it inside the on stop method. So it depends basically. Okay, so it is about the activity lifecycle. Okay, so we have got the activity lifecycle, and always remember set content view method will always be present inside the on create. So never write this particular method inside the on start or on resume. It should always be inside on create. And if you don't write the on create method, so if I remove all the methods, let's say, and if you run the application, so you can see. So basically it is working on the latest version, but on some of the older versions, your application will just crash. Okay, so just make sure that you are at least including the on create method inside your app. Okay, so it's all done. So now I will take you through the application architecture. Okay, so as you can see over here, so there is a Java folder. So normally whenever you will create a project, you will see this kind of architecture: project, packages, scratches, Android, project files and all. So normally these are also called as the project perspectives. So normally the project perspective which I use, so different developers will be comfortable with different perspective. But normally the perspective that I use, it is called as the project perspective. If you make it Android, you will see something like this. If you make it project, so again the folders and files are same. It is just a way it is showing them to you. Okay, so I will go into the project perspective, and now the main thing that all the code that you will be writing, it will be inside the app folder. So inside the app, there is a src folder, there is a main folder, and this is where 99% of the time you will be working on. So it contains Java folder and resource folder. So Java folder will contain all your Java code which you will be writing, and resource folder will contain all your layout files. So all the layouts, all the screen designs that you will be creating, those should be created in the layout file itself. You should not create those designs in any other layout or any other folder. And always remember, never create the folder with your name. Or you might think that inside layout, I will create a folder with my name, let's say Vipul, and inside that I will keep the layout file. So no, you should not do that, because Android will just, application will just crash. Okay, so all the layouts should be present inside the layout folder. Okay, and apart from that, in Android, you will see the mipmap folder. So mipmap folder is used for storing the images. So I have got a short question for you. By looking at this particular mipmap folder, you can see there are 5 folders present out there, and in each folder you will see a similar image. So what could be a reason of creating a 5 set of single image? So we have got the 5 different folders and it is having the same image. So can you guess what could be a reason behind that? So yes guys, so you have predicted it correctly. So as you know, Android comes in different screen sizes, right? So if you take a single short image, it might look good on smaller screen device, but it would not look good on the larger screen device, because what it will do, it will try to stretch itself, right? Or in fact, if you run that particular application on the Android TV, your image will not look good at all, right? Because the resolution is not matching. So in Android, whenever you are creating the images, you have to make sure you are creating the 5 set of images. So MDPI stands for medium density, HDPI stands for higher density, XHDPI stands for extra high density, XS means extra high density, and the triple XHDPI. So let me show it to you. So you can see this particular image. And now what I'll do, I will open this particular image. And now you can see there is a size with, so images are same looking, but there is a difference in the resolution, right? So this is how basically you will be putting the image. So whenever you are creating an image, always make sure you are creating the 5 set of images. And to help you to do that, there is already a tool which is in place that is called as Android Asset Studio. So normally it should be done by the graphics designer because they have got that particular expertise. But in case if you want to do it quickly, you can always go onto the website Android Assets Studio. And this website will only run on the Chrome. So don't try to run it on any other browser. I will ping you the link of this particular website. Okay, and there you can see. So there you can create different categories of icons. So I will select launcher icon. I can upload the image. Okay, or I can use the clip art. So let's keep this particular clip art. Or you can write the text also. So I will use this clip art and I will select the color. Okay, so what I have done is I have taken the clip art and I have selected the color over there, something like this. And now you can see it is automatically creating the 5 set of icons for you. MDPI, HDPI, XHDPI, XSHDPI, and triple XHDPI. The only thing that we did is we uploaded the image. So you can add the long shadow to it and a lot of other things you can do basically. So you can write, you can put it as a dog here. And now what I'll do, I will click on download zip. Click on desktop, save. And now what it has done, it has basically downloaded the zip file. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into that zip file. And now you can see it has automatically created the folders for us. And each folder contains the icon file. So what I'll do is I will just copy those folders, go into Studio, go into Resources and paste them. I will say override for all. And now you can see the icons. So again, it's not a very resolution icon, but yes, you can create the icon something like this. So now let's run the application and let's see if you are seeing that icon or not. Okay, so I will put it in background, go into the launcher, and now you can see there is an icon with the hello world. So whatever icon that we have created, so that icon has been applied to your application. Okay, so guys, are you clear? Like how did we go onto the website? We created the icon and we put that icon in the studio. Any questions in that? Okay, so how about rest of you guys? Any question? Is there any size of the image if you are uploading? Ranganatha, I would always suggest that you always go with the 512 by 512. So if you want some dummy images, you can always go on to the icon finder. Click on this particular link and just search for icon, let's say Android. Click on free and you can select this, and there you will see, you will get the 512 by 512 icon. So while uploading, always make sure that you are uploading the 512 by 512 icon image file over there. Okay, so yeah, so now we have given the icon also. So what is the purpose of drawable is to create the XML drawables. So that is somewhat advanced topic. So I will skip that drawable folder for now. When we will cover that particular program, that time I will go into more details. Then you have something called as values. Okay, so values is where you can declare all the constants. So when we are writing the Java programs or when we are writing some programs like that, you must have done something like this, right? So you must have created the constant files on your Java application. In the same way, in Android also, if you feel that you are going to use the color everywhere, so rather than copy pasting that color value everywhere, what you can do, you can create the constant file which has already been created for you. You just need to add one more. Let's say I will add color name. I will say something like activity background color, and let's give the color as. So what I usually do, I give some dummy color and then I modify it. Choose. So what I've done is I have created a constant over here, and what is the constant name? Activity underscore background underscore color. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the layout file. And now if you see over here, so we are hard coding the color over here, right? The color is hard coded. So rather than that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write @. So what was the file name? File name was color. And what was the variable name? Activity underscore background underscore color. And now you can see the color has been applied. So guys, can you think of any advantage of this particular approach? So rather than hard coding the color, I'm putting it inside the colors.xml and I'm referencing that file over here. So what could be the advantage of this approach? Okay, so code reusability. Okay, can we change that runtime? Okay. Okay, so let me give you an example. Yes. So let's say now we just have one layout file, but tomorrow you might have 20 layout files, and in all files you want to use the same color. So what you could do is instead of creating colors.xml, you will just copy paste that color in every file. But tomorrow if I say that, okay, I don't want this color, I want some other color. So what you will have to do? You will have to make change in all file again. But with this approach, what will happen? So if tomorrow someone says that, okay, so now I don't want this particular color, I want some different color. So what you can do, you can change that particular color. And what will happen is it will automatically get what do you say? So it will reflected everywhere. So now you can see. So regardless of how many files you have changed, but if you are referencing it from the colors.xml, so you just need to make a change in colors.xml and it will automatically get reflected everywhere. So same concept is true with the strings also. So rather than hard coding the strings, you should put them in the strings.xml. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into strings.xml, and there you can see there are already few lines. So I'm going to say string name is equal to title underscore button 1, and always make sure the keys are very descriptive. So by looking at the key, you should come to know, okay, so where this string constant must be used. So when I say title underscore button 1, I immediately come to know that this title has been placed on some button. So okay, so we have got the button 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so what we have done, we have created three strings files. Name is equal to whatever name that you have to give. So that is also called as key. And what is the value? So value is button 1, button 2, button 3. So those are all the values. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump into the activity main. And instead of the hard coding string, I would say @string button 1, button 2, 3, 4, and finally 5. So we'll have button 2 title, button 3, 4, and 5. So what we are getting in the center of the screen, we are getting all the buttons. Button 1, button 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so styles, I will come to that particular topic shortly. But this is how you can put the strings and you can put the colors in the constant file. Same way you will see one more file if you want to give the dimensions. So you will see a dimension unit called as DP. DP stands for density independent pixels. So normally you must have given the directions in the dimensions in the pixel format. But in case of Android, you will be giving them in the DP format. Okay, so it's all done. So guys, are you clear with strings.xml and colors.xml? Any questions? Okay, so how about rest of you guys? Okay, great. So I guess you are comfortable with string.xml and the bitmap folders basically. So next thing that I'm going to talk about, it is called as the international. Okay, so how you can convert this particular application in multiple languages. So what I'm going to do is, so very first thing you have to remember, your application will get translated only when all the strings which are being used inside your application, they are placed inside strings.xml file. Okay, so what you have to make sure, so whatever strings that you will be keeping inside this particular uh, application, so you have to put them inside string.xml. Never hard code any particular strings, because if you hard code, then the translation will not work. So what I'm going to do over here is, if you see carefully, I have got 5 buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to place my cursor onto the resource folder. So just carefully see. I am placing my cursor over resource folder, right click, new, and then I'm going to click on Android resource file. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm right clicking, clicking on new, and there I'm clicking on Android resource file. Click on that. Resource type is values. Okay, so all the things are as it is. Now I will select local over here because I want to convert them into the Japanese. So I will select local and I will put it over here. From here I am going to select Japanese and file name I will give same name string.xml. Okay, and now if you notice, Android has created one more folder for you, that is values-j. Okay, so you already had a folder called as values, but below that what Android has done, Android has created a folder that is called as values-j. So this is a file where you will keep all the translation of string.xml. So what I'm going to do is, I will go into the values, go into string.xml, copy this entire block and paste it over here. Okay, so what we are doing, we are basically taking all the strings from the default folder and I'm putting it inside the Japanese folder. And now what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to perform the translation. So first take the hello world, go on to the translate.google.com. Okay, and what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to paste that particular code snippet. Let's make it Japanese. And you will see something like this. I'm just going to copy paste this entire thing, come into Studio and paste it over here. So you can see the key is unchanged, but the value which is being shown by the user, you have changed it inside the strings.xml in the Japanese folder. So let's make a transition of buttons also. Okay, so I'm getting something like this. Copy, paste it over here. So let's say it is something like this. So I will just replace button 2, button 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so in the real world, you would not be creating or you would not be translating those files. Those will be translated by the translator. So he will be taking your string.xml file, he will be translating that entire file like this, and he will again give you that string.xml file. So what you have to do, you just have to place that particular file in your project folder. Okay, so everything is done, it seems. Oh, sorry. Okay, now what I'll do, I will go on to the activity main, and now if you see below Earth, you will also see the Japanese sign. And now what is happening? So when you click on that particular sign, all of your data is converted to Japanese. So it is just for the testing purpose. How your application will look on the Japanese device. So right now what is happening? So all the text they are getting converted to the Japanese. So I have a question for you guys. So let's say something like this. So in activity underscore hello, you have got a lot of okay, let me close that. Okay. So in the activity hello, you have got something like this. So I will remove the button 5 from the Japanese file. So can you tell me on button 5 what you will see? Will it a blank or it will be in English? The question is, so if you see in this particular file, button 5 is missing. In Japanese file, the button 5 is missing, but in English file, button 5 is there. So when you run the application, what you will see in case of button 5? Yes, so that is correct. So guys, what it will do is it will pick up the default string. So value string.xml is your default file. So whenever it will not find anything in the translation file, what it will do, it will always pick up that value from the default file. So let's open the layout. And now you can see. So what is happening? So it is showing 4 buttons in the Japanese, but fifth button, it is with the default value, that is button 5. Okay, that's great. Okay, so let's create one more localization. So what I'll do, resources, right click, new, Android resource file. In the Android resource file, I am going to select the local. I will make it, let's say, Hindi. Let's make it Hindi. I will make it something like uh, French. Okay, any reason, and I will keep this file name as string.xml only. Okay, so let's copy the same contents. Let's see what you call hello world in Spanish. Okay, something like this. Copy that. Then you have got button 1. Okay, so it is called as button 1 only. Button 2. Okay, so there is no change, but what I have done in this particular thing, I have just changed the title of my application. Rest of the things I have removed them. Now let's run the application. In fact, let's see the preview over here. I will say, so if you see over here, you will also get a pop-up called as preview all locals. Means at a time it will preview all the screens in the different locals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on preview all locals. And now you can see. So we have got Japanese, then we have got button 3, right? So first one is Chinese, second one is Japanese, and third one is English. So again, it is not showing it correctly because there is some problem with the preview, but even this you can basically see how your application is looking in the different programming languages over there. Okay, so let's just go through this particular program, and if you have any questions, please ask me. Okay, so is it clear to you all, guys, how the localization is added to the Android application? And yes, Varun, so it is extending the activity class, app-comp activity. So it is a built-in activity which is provided by the Android. Okay, so this is how your values are basically used. So next file that you will see, it is called as the Android manifest file. And Android manifest file is the important of all the files because it is considered to be a main building block. So like I told you, so you might have 10 to 15 activities inside your project. And in each activity, you will have a public static void main method. So when you launch your application, so how will you come to know basically which activity should be launched first? Because you have got 10 activities and all the 10 activities have got the onCreate method. So the entry of the starting activity, it is made in the Android manifest file. Apart from that, it also contains the, so if you remember, we changed the launcher icon and it also got applied. The reason is inside the application, if you see, we have written icon. Android colon icon is equal to @icon and we have given the icon name. So this is how it basically comes to know that for application launcher, we should assign this particular icon. Then we have got the label of the application, support right to left true. Right to left is generally used for Arabic languages. And finally, what I'm doing, I'm starting declaring the activity. Okay, so in the activity, you will be writing the activity name. And so basically, you will get two options over there, action main and action category launcher. It means this is the launcher activity. And it, so that is the meaning of this. So when you say intent.action.main means it is a main activity throughout that project. So no matter how many other activities you have, so since it has been written over here that it is basically it is the main activity, so Android will start this activity first always. And then you will have a launcher. So what does it mean? It means that Android is saying whenever user clicks on the launcher icon, it should start this particular activity without fail. Okay, so guys, any questions? Is my voice is coming over there, guys? Okay, that's great. Okay, so the two major components that we saw today is how you're going to use the activity lifecycle and how you're going to perform the localization inside your application. Varun, yes, so your application may have multiple activities, but there will be only one main activity. If change any code in the manifest, like, okay, so I got a question from Linda. If change any code in manifest, will it change the activity? So exactly which code you are talking about, Linda, in manifest? Okay, so I have got a question. Next question is, let's say icon or the label. So it will manage application, right? And yes, Linda. So if you make any particular change, so yes, it is going to change it. Yep, definitely it's going to change it. So if you change the icon, that icon will get applied to your application. If you change this particular label, that label will get applied to your application. So yes, it will change. Okay. So next thing that we are going to see, it is the debugging the Android applications. Okay, so how do you basically debug the Android applications? So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the hello activity and there we are going to add the debug points. So what I'm doing, I'm just clicking on that empty area. Okay, so what is happening is I have created the red dots, I have clicked on those to activate the debug point, and now what will happen? So whenever you will run the application, it will basically stop over there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to click on the play icon, I'm going to click on this bug like icon. Okay, so let's run the app, and now you can see. So your application execution has been halted at this particular line. So now what you can do is you can always press this particular key to step over. So I can press this particular key to step over, and now I should see something like this. Okay, so it went already toast.medtext. So run this application, and now you got the toast. Okay, so that is all fine. Now I will put my application in the background. Oh, sorry, debug did not work. So what's the issue? Yeah, so you can see. So basically it worked, then it went to the stop, and now when I again bring back my application in the front, it called on start, and after on start, it called on resume over there. So yes, like I will do it again. So guys, what I'm doing is I'm activating the breakpoint, and instead of play, I'm clicking on that bug-like icon, and your execution will automatically stop here. Now I can go step by step. So now I will click on step over, or you can click on F8 key, and what it will do, it will go on to the next line. So you can see. So on Zoom call. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my application in the background, and as soon as you put your application in the background, what did happen? So now your on pause method got called. Let's run this. It came into the on stop. Let's run this. Okay, so your application has been paused and stopped. Let's bring it to foreground. And now my control automatically went into the on start. It automatically get into the toast message, and after that it will call resume and it will call pause over there. Okay, so this is how you can basically do it, debug. Okay, and as and when we will start creating the advanced application, so that time I will give you more detailed understanding on how you can perform the advanced level debugging. Okay, so let's quickly go through the basics. So today we covered like how you can create the application which can run on the multi-language applications, devices, sorry, what are the different building blocks. So building blocks are your Android, manifest file, drawable files, and all those sort of things. In tomorrow's session, what we are going to do, so in tomorrow's session, we are now more deeply, we are going to jump into the layouts. So today we saw just linear layout, and that is also partly. Tomorrow what we are going to do, tomorrow basically we are going to create the actual layouts. So relative layout, linear layout, table layout, and frame layout. So these are the four very important layouts that we are going to learn tomorrow. We will be talking about the Android widgets. So in widgets, we will see a lot of controls that you will create: button, table view, list view, grid view, and all the sort of widgets we will see. Then I will be talking about support library widgets. Support library means those widgets came up in the latest version of Android, but they are also backported to the earlier versions. In third session, what we are going to see, so in third session, we are going to see how you can create the activities in more advanced way. So right now, the activity that we saw, it was just a basic activity, but we are going to see how you can create the activity in the advanced way. Then we are going to take a look at the fragments. So fragments is somewhat advanced topic, and the one use of fragment I would like to tell you. So as you saw, at a time only one activity can execute. But if you want that on the left hand side something should happen, and on the right hand side something else should happen on your tablet. So you can achieve that functionality using the fragments. Then intents. So intent I will go into more details when I will come to it. Then we are going to jump into the advanced Android views. So we are going to learn how you can use the recycler view, which is a updated version of list view. And nowadays we will be using the list vehicle view everywhere. Then I'm going to talk about the drawer layout. Okay, so drawer layout is something like a sliding drawer that you see in the Gmail application. Then toolbar, app bar layout, and a lot of advanced stuff. Then we will be playing with the Google Maps, like how you can get the user's current location, how you can show that particular map on the user's device, and all that sort of things. Then in the session 6, we are going to talk about the databases and all. Session 7, we will be creating an application in which we will be making a hit with the network. We will fetch a data and we will display that data on the screen. Then we are going to take a look at the Android file system, like how basically the information is stored on the Android files. Sync storage options like file and all. Android animations, what are the different animations that are performed or that are given by the Android? We are going to take a look at that. And finally, in session 10, I will show you how you can actually publish the application in the App Store. Okay, so in the distribution, we will see a lot of things like how you can sign your application, how you can send the application on the Play Store, not App Store, sorry. Then we will also see how you can encrypt your application source code so that other developers will not able to decompile your application and see the source code. And we will see what are the different distribution channels available for publishing the application. And Ashutosh, for writing the Android application, the major language that you should know, it is called as core Java. So again, don't go into the details of the Java programming language, only core Java will do. And guys, if you have the good understanding on the file handling, network handling, so it will be more easier for you to follow. Okay, so guys, so still we have got 10 minutes left. So any questions that you would like to ask me or any doubts you have? Okay, so Rajesh has no questions. How about others? Okay, so Varun has got a question. When you install a emulator from a Genymotion, okay, Varun, what I'll do is I will unmute you so you can ask me a question. Yes, Varun, I have unmuted you.
Yeah, so my question is, while going through this session itself, I installed this Genie Motion as well. And when I'm
Okay.
trying to actually launch the Genie Motion, I installed the plugin as well. And when I'm trying to launch it, it is giving me a message that the Genie Motion emulator cannot be started. So
What message exactly you are getting? Is it giving any detail message like, or is it just saying it is cannot be started?
It cannot be started, and you have to start it from virtual Dropbox.
So have you installed the VirtualBox, Varun?
Yes, VirtualBox I have installed.
Okay, so can you check if the VirtualBox can be started?
From VirtualBox, when I actually tried to start it, it started the Google Nexus 6 emulator, but I'm not seeing any kind of a screen, the emulated screen. I'm just seeing it as an icon, so I don't know. And then in my Genie Motion device manager in my Android Studio, it is showing it has started. So
Uh, okay, so Varun, just hold on. What I'll do is I'll make you a presenter.
mhm.
Okay, so you might get one dialog asking you to share your screen. So just click on that. So did you get any dialog, Varun?
No.
Okay, so now,
One second. It is saying you need to switch to desktop version of GoTo Training, and it is asking me to download it.
uh, okay, so then what you can do is you just send me a couple of screenshots of the error, and also make sure that you have installed the desktop version so that tomorrow we can look into more details. But I will try to give you
Sure,
the solution on the screenshots itself.
sure. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's great.
Uh, so we need to. Can I email you the screenshot? Do we have your email ID?
So yeah, so what you can do is, and I've got a question. Okay, so I've got a question. Yes, so Bhavik will take care of that. So Bhavik, yeah, so Bhavik will help you with that. So you can just send the code snippets to Bhavik, and I'll get back to you. Okay, and I got a question from Ranganatha. Is there any copyright issue if you use the codes from other app? So Ranganatha, what I would recommend, so whenever you are taking the source code from any other apps, just read the copyright notice. If they are Apache licensed or if they are MIT licensed, what you can do, you can take the source code, but you have to make sure you are keeping the license headers as it is. You should not remove them or you should not replace those with your name. So that is not allowed. Okay, and Ashutosh, so even if you're not able to attend the sessions tomorrow, no worries because the sessions will be recorded and will be available to you in your in your LMS portal. So you can view the recorded session, and after that, if you have any queries, you can always reach out to me. Okay, so no worries about that. Okay, so guys, so Bhavik has put the email ID. So if you have any queries or questions, just mail on bhavik.travel@collabra.com. Okay, and is there any regulatory in the apps development? So I did not get your question, Ranganatha. Can you please rephrase the question? Whether we need to register? Ah, okay. So what I'll do, Ranganatha, I will unmute you. Yeah, please go ahead and ask me a question, Ranga.
That's what I'm asking is like to be an Android developer,
Okay.
whether we need to register with any regulatory authority or anything like that, or whether we can just do as freelancer app developer.
Yeah. That also you can do, Ranganatha. So you will get plenty of portals online where you can get the freelancing jobs on the Android. So
Okay.
there's a lot of like skill sets. So like you will get monster.com, notary.com, or there are some other portals also. There you can register yourself as a freelancer, and there will be frequent projects will be coming in. So if you feel that you can take up that project, you can just put your code over there and you can start working on the app.
Is there any regulations like we cannot build this kind of app
No, not like that. So ultimately, yes, if you are breaking any laws, or if you are going against the copyright notices or something like that, so definitely there is a issue. But you can create all sort of applications, I would say.
Okay. And one more thing I heard, like for money transactions, we need to register with RBI. Is it true?
You have to
Like
register with.
for any money transactions,
Okay.
let's say like my yeah, that's what money transaction. We need to register with RBI. I heard from someone, and I don't know whether is it true or false. I don't know. Is,
So register with RBI. So are you talking about through the Android app if you want to provide that support?
yes, yes.
So no, as far as I know, you don't need to do that. So in case if you are using the PayPal, you just need to register on the PayPal account. No
Okay.
RBI. But I think
Yeah.
there will be some other. I would suggest that you just read it in more details, because there might be some rules which has newly introduced or something like that. So it will help you a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. So thank you
Yeah.
very much, guys, for your time. I'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. So please be come sharp at 11 o'clock so we can start with the session on time. And tomorrow we will be starting with the layouts, widget, and Android support libraries. So just practice all the programs which I taught you today, and I will be also sending you these programs. So just make sure you're practicing them, and if you have any queries, just drop a mail to us. Okay. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Bye.